Hello and welcome to this week's story update. Today we're going to be speaking with Micah Peterson, who we got Micah's story about 3 years ago. So before we speak to Micah, let's take a look at his story.
Hi, my name is Micah Peterson, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. So when I was 21, I was in college at Oberlin, up in Ohio, which is the middle of nowhere, and I had an opportunity to study abroad in Tokyo, Japan. It was just I was really excited to go just because it was going to be a really great chance for me to kind of break out of my boundaries and see a whole new world. At that point, I was already kind of crazy as it was. I was kind of a wild, not really like a wild kid, but wild enough. I had these green eye contacts in, and I was just, trying to be cute and stuff. And I figured I can go to Japan and make them love me too. And I figured, why not? Let's try it out. So I get to Japan, and I had such a culture shock that my eyes were so awakened in a way that I could not even imagine happening. I joined the school groups, I joined the track team, and people assumed I was gonna be fast, and I was like, okay, that's fine. People assumed because I'm black, I'm gonna be a fast runner. I recall, people coming up to me and asking me hey, so do you prefer Kanye West or do you prefer 50 Cent? And okay, I'm someone who doesn't really listen to hip hop music at all, so I was just like, well, whoever you like. I just remember having all these interactions where I kept having my blackness challenged and questioned. One of the things that I decided to dive into was the gay scene, because why not? Tokyo is also really fascinating because it has one of the largest concentration of gay bars in the world. I found that guys were interested, but there was obviously these weird little things, they thought it was because I was sexually virile, or that I was had a really big black phallus, or that I was gonna be a top. It's either that or they didn't want me at all. And because they had these assumptions that based on media consumption that I was a thief or a thug or that I was dirty, and they wanted nothing to do with me. If I wasn't white, then it wasn't right. I remember there was this one time I was on the train, and there was this guy that I made eye contact with, and I just assumed, he was kind of cute. He was in his probably his mid-20s, and naturally, you assume you make eye contact with someone, and then you make eye contact again. You're like, oh, maybe there's something they're interested in you. So I made eye contact again, and we kept making eye contact in the car ride, and then when we got to the station, he got out of the car and moved to another car because he did not want to be anywhere near me. I had some black friends who were studying abroad, and also had some Japanese friends who had also previously studied abroad who were also living in Japan. And through them, they helped me really come into myself, and helped me really kind of understand, that this is a different culture, and hey, it's okay. And I still, to this day, still love Japan and everything it represents, but also realizing that, I come from somewhere different. And it's okay to note these differences and still be okay with that. When I got back to the States, I think one of the first things that I noticed that I hadn't noticed before was just how many of us there are. How many I didn't notice black people like I noticed them when I got back. I didn't notice black LGBT people like I noticed before, I noticed when I got back. And I think that it was almost as if I had been sleeping and I had just woken up from years in the coma or something, and all of a sudden we have flying cars. One of the first things I did was I took out those green contacts. I loved my brown eyes. I wanted people to see my beautiful brown eyes. I started to hang out more with my black friends. I had them before at Oberlin, but there's something about the connection, being able to tell them things and have them know that they get it was just so amazing. I started to hang out with my black gay friends more, and it built to have those kind of bonds and seek out other black gay men as romantic partners, which was something that that was new to me and was such a craving that I didn't know that I was missing. And I just learned to really love myself and love my skin. The story for me is the issue I was encountering was that I was running into an issue because people didn't want me to be who I am. And I think generally speaking, this is for anyone else who's going through this kind of similar experience, just know that you should love yourself, and that at the end of the day, you're gonna come across forces that who aren't gonna want you to be who you are, and you just have to accept the fact that this is who you are, and all your cultural experiences, your life experiences, they make you you, and no one's gonna take that away from you. So be yourself, love yourself, and challenge other people.
Okay, Micah, welcome to I'm from Driftwood's story update. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing, as well as one can do in 2020. I hope you
Right.
are too. Are you hanging in there? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, yeah, so far so good. I got some new hair. It's been a good time so far.
Well, it looks great. I'm glad you're doing well. Um, so I want to talk about some things from your story. There was one thing that you said in your story about how people made a lot of assumptions about you when you were traveling, even though I assume that wouldn't just happen when you travel, but just in general. How do you deal with those, or for example, I think you said that someone mentioned that you're a fast runner or that you listen to hip hop or R&B. How do you, I assume those kind of microaggressions continue to happen, and if they do continue to happen, how do you respond to them?
I mean, it's a great question. I mean, so ever since then, it still does happen to me. It's kind of switched over from those like um, really generalized assumptions to being a little bit more targeted, I would say, especially in the gay community. There'll be things like, oh, I want some, BBC, which for those that don't know, stands for Big Black Cock. So there's been a lot of just like assumptions about, my position sexually, what kind of lover I am if I'm, a quote unquote mandingo type. So I think in that when those have come up, and at that point they're not even microaggressions anymore. I just call them straight up aggressions. In those situations, I call it out, and I think it's something that I've learned since that experience of being in Japan, and just becoming more of an adult. Is just learning how to actually stand up for myself and say, hey, like this makes me feel a certain way, and I'm going to correct you on that.
I love that. I guess that brings up a good point of why call it microaggression. It kind of makes it seem like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And it is a big deal, is what it sounds like. So just call it what it is, which is an aggression. You also talked about how your travels kind of taught you how to love and appreciate your own Blackness. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure thing. I think when you live in the United States, I think it's really easy to be, as we're in a bubble, right? And we don't see how other people see us. And I think once you're able to, leave your town, leave your city, leave your state, leave your country, we really become to really can see how other people see us, how other people perceive us, and also how stereotypes and ideas of how people interact with each other really manifest. I don't think I really realized at that, when I went to Japan for the first time, I didn't realize what it meant to be Black in the United States, much less in the world. So being able to experience that and then come back to the United States and really understand my place in the society and how to challenge that was really eye opening. And I think, you know, continuing to grow and adapt and read and learn about, America's history and like how much of it like we weren't taught. Has really opened my eyes and maybe like want to push more further to love my Blackness and also just love being a human and being part of the fabric of this country in a way that I just never had before.
I love that. So at the end of your story, you talked about how you advise some people to challenge those who don't want them to be themselves. What would you like? How do you do that? That's kind of hard to do for anyone. But how do you do that?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I mean, for me, it's really just been becoming comfortable with my own skin, and just living. I think one of the biggest things to, if you really want to challenge somebody, like just be present. Like I think people hate seeing someone just being present and being themselves and being authentic to who they are, which again takes a lot of time. I mean, I've been in therapy for years. Highly recommend it as a great way to unlock your own potential, and to realize who you really are when you look in the mirror. Um, so for me, that has been one of the ways that I do that. But I know it is not easy and it takes time, it takes practice, it takes a lot of work to get to that point, but it is so worth it, to do that. And then I think once other people can see that and they see how you are living and how you are being authentic to yourself, it could change the entire game.
I really love what you just said because it kind of ties into your story, and it kind of feels like this character of who you are, which is the sooner you stop worrying about perceptions of others and you start just doing work on yourself and being okay with who you are and embracing who you are and loving who you are, then it kind of changes the world around you. Is that fair to say? Is that accurate?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think ultimately it comes back to, self-love, self-validation, right? If you can't do that, if you like, like what RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how are you supposed to love somebody else? I mean, it's true. It's so true. Like you have to be able to accept who you are and love who you are and love the skin that you're in, or else you're not gonna make anyone else happy.
So what else is going on in your life? Anything else you want to share with people about what's, the holidays are coming up? Are you doing anything, or what's, any big changes the past couple of years?
Let's see. I think some of the big changes. I started learning how to play guitar, so it was exciting. I mean, watch out. The country album might be dropping. Someday post pandemic. Learning my own TikToks. So yeah, I mean, that's been like the really big thing so far. Yeah, I just been really just trying to enjoy life and enjoy me and do a lot more reading and just trying to live the best I can be and being a radio host. That's also going really well.
You said you're being a radio host for what?
Oh, sorry. Yes. So I am a radio host on a program called Queer State of Mind. It is on Radio Free Brooklyn, which is an internet radio station. We have our shows every Saturday from noon to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, please feel free to tune in. We love having guests and everything else. So it's a great time.
Great. All right. We'll include that link in the description when we post this.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. It was great seeing you again. I hope you have a safe and relaxing holiday season, and good luck on the guitar. And we'll check out your radio show. And everyone else, thanks for tuning in and watching. And thanks for checking out all of our story updates. Bye.